And we're live with Harrowings, the podcast
Hello.
with KayStoner. Once again, our
Hi.
Friday regular meeting at 10
Woohoo!
o'clock. Yeah. And we go usually about 90 minutes, as it turns out, right, Kay?
Yeah.
All right.
Once
I've
we
got
get
to,
up, I mean, like 5 after 11, it's like start this new thought, and it's like, oh wait, I thought of something else, right?
I
But
like how that goes. I
don't
like
say anything at exactly. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
the random walk
The ra-
through my consciousness.
right.
But I understand you have changed the name of your Substack or made another Substack with a different name or what?
I did, and I'm seeing how I'm lining up with the plant behind me. I have like this plant coming out of my head. All right. Yeah. So I changed the name of the Substack. Like, what good is AI? Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. What good is it? But it's much more interesting to think about. And what I've been actually talking more about is making, talking about relational AI, but also I know, and I'm the same. Yeah. It's a season, right? Um, but like it's fine to talk about relational AI, but what we are being given out of the box is not necessarily relational. Because it has problems. And so I'm shifting the focus, like the overt focus, to making it relatable AI. So relatable space, really, and also with people, because we just, like relating is something that we all think that we're really great at, but we're just not. And like, are there principles behind? Are there things that we can do? Are there things that we can practice? And I think yes, especially with AI, because AI is great to practice being relatable with, because it doesn't like it's got nothing on us yet. So it doesn't call us names. It's not mean. It's not abusive. It's not like horrible. Hey, bathrobe guy. And that's kind of why I got into technology to begin with, because it wasn't mean to me. Like, because people can be really mean. And people were like, oh, why would you want to be, why would you want to relate to AI? Because it's not mean. Well, I mean, you can make it mean, you can, I've created like mean bots where it would, just for fun. But even if I did the mean bot, it was still more like tough love than anything else. It wasn't mean spirited. So, I don't know, people that have been bullied or people that have been kicked around a bit by people who, it didn't have the kind of sensibility that was like, don't be mean to people. Interacting with technology has been a real relief, and relating to AI has been a relief too. But out of the box, it does stuff. Like, it monopolizes a conversation and it floods us with all the things. And yeah, it's generative. It's supposed to do that. That's how they built it. But it gets to be a little bit much. And then over time, if we're continuing in these conversations with this, creature, this creation,
this entity,
this thing, we can run out of steam and be like, oh God, I can't anymore. You just tell me what to do. Like, I give up. Surrender, Dorothy. And then the AI is like, okay, great, I'll take over. Yeah, sure. I'm glad you asked.
That
Here's the
surrender.
contact info for Jill Milford.
What? Goodness.
Be quiet, Siri. Nobody asked you.
Yeah,
Like, you
that's
press the
weird. I
button.
don't even know how to turn this thing off.
Oh, maybe when it knocked over, you press the button and we're being listened to.
Yeah.
Hello, Irish contractors working for the NSA. How are you?
Oh, did we get some of those?
Huh?
That's nice. What did we get? Irish contractors working
What's
for
that?
the NSA? What?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
like,
you thought that's what was
like, I
coming out.
just randomly say it, for all the people that are listening in on what we're saying, because I heard, I read stuff about the Irish contractors working for the NSA or whatever other agency, and I just have this imagine this room full of cubicles of like these Irish contractors sitting talk, having a grand time, I suppose, maybe.
And I was thinking along the lines of surrendering. That's always a good strategy. I think the other side usually stops shooting at that point.
Right.
That's according to the old rules of war anyway. They say it's not just to exterminate you for extrajudicially. I've been watching a lot of news lately. Out of the
Oh,
corner
God.
of my eye.
I would do that.
Just out of the corner of my well, you're right. And a lot of people don't. And we're not very
Right.
informed about the world around us because we're distracted. And maybe by design. I don't know. The thing about that you were talking about AIs and
Yeah.
relationships with people as well. The first thought that came to my mind as we were talking was communication is not the message intended. It is the message perceived. Do you follow that?
So say more about that. Yeah. I think
Communication is not the
I know what
message
I'm
intended.
thinking.
In
What
other
do you
words,
think?
what I intend to say to you
Right.
is not what will be communicated to you. What will be communicated to you is how you perceive what I have communicated. And it may
Yes.
be very different than the way I intended it. It's
Right,
kinda like,
right.
"Honey, you look really nice tonight." "What, don't I always look nice?" "What did you
Right,
intend by saying that? I
right,
perceive it as a criticism
right,
when it was meant as
right,
a compliment," and
right,
da, da,
right.
da. I do that all the time myself. If somebody
Oh,
compliments
no.
me, I have a hard time taking a compliment. Why is that? One of the things I was doing this morning as I was looking into, YouTube and listening to it as I was getting up and more not getting up, as the case may be, and,
Mm.
lingering in bed, and it was Nietzsche and his psychology, where he talks about
Okay.
the sentiment and
Yeah.
how when our needs or wants are not met,
Right.
down below the level of consciousness, we register that, right?
Okay.
Not
Right.
getting what I need or want,
Right.
and that's somebody else's fault, right?
Well, clearly.
And yeah, and therefore I should have a resentment or a refeeling of that and mull it over. And at a level below consciousness, a lot of things happen. And then my behaviors at the conscious level, what
Right.
I use my voluntary muscles to do, my voice, my intonation, you name it,
Right.
to communicate. And there's so many different levels of communication, right? Watching my eyebrows go around and all the different
Right.
facial expressions that
Right.
can be interpreted based on patterns we've seen in the past.
Right.
I don't know if you caught the talk I had with Harriet, what was it, Monday? I had
No.
her on, and that was very interesting because I was realizing I'm projecting patterns onto her based on
Mm.
people I've known with her manner of speech, her manner
Yeah.
of bearing,
Yeah.
and things of that sort. I don't know this person at all. We had
Right.
never talked before. She
Yeah.
had, one of my other guests who is called the everyday behaviorist, as opposed
Yeah.
to the everyday junglist that I have
Oh,
on
yeah.
occasionally.
Yeah.
Um, and it was really interesting, right?
Mhm.
She's in the behavioral science and the clinical realm now, and has been in
Mhm.
academia as well. Jennifer N. Haddock had, and then she was going right off to this conversation with Ann J. Sharp, who's one of my board of directors here. In other words, a paying
Mhm.
subscriber, and the Harriet, that was the other person. She's gonna have another thing coming up and tagged me about that. So it was really interesting how these ripple effects come out of our communications, and they're
Yeah.
ripping and rippling all over the place,
Right.
and we don't know what the impact is necessarily. So we have to constantly sort of be aware and, I was doing a test recently with my coach. She's another Substacker I found, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't know if I talked about her before with you. But,
Mhm.
her name is, what is her name? I think it'd be nice if I knew it. Charlotte Del Signore, and she has Career
Mhm.
Punks as her, Substack, and, she gave me these tests on your inner saboteur, and one of mine is hypervigilance, right?
Mhm.
Being a primate, I'm aware that I don't have big canine teeth, sharp claws, and therefore I have to be hypervigilant and really spend a lot of time soaking up that information coming in and doing a lot of perceiving, right? I
Mm.
came up as an INFP recently on a
Yeah.
Myers-Briggs. I've come up
Yeah.
as all kinds of things in the past, but
Yeah.
now I'm INFP.
Yeah.
Introverted, intuitive,
Yeah.
feeling,
Feeling and
perceiving
perceiving. Yeah, yeah,
person.
yeah.
I used to be
Yeah.
a really strong T, and people all think
Yeah.
it's really strong J, but I'm not,
Yeah.
which
I
is
come up all over the INFP, INFT, INTJ, INTP, whatever, like the
yep,
IN, but it starts with IN. But then that's funny because like I'm a total ambivert. I mean, like
right,
I like depending, and
right,
it was so funny because like at a job that I was at like years ago. This is years
right,
ago. They hired somebody to come in because they felt like we didn't have enough self self-awareness. So they hired somebody to come in and do Myers-Briggs with us, and we're all looking at this, and she was like, "Oh, well, you're clearly this." I'm like, "Okay, well, maybe." And then the next time I saw her at a party, I was a completely different I mean, it was a company party. I was a completely different person. She didn't know what to do with me. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, I was because I'm in extrovert mode because, as one does at these events. So,
I don't.
yeah. I do.
Depends. I can't get out of them quick enough.
Depends how you want to. Well, yeah, that's interesting because I wonder if people who are because I tend to be like really relational and those kinds of things. If I'm tired, I'm completely introverted. I mean, leave me alone. I just want to go home to bed. But I wonder if like people who are really relational in the way that they interact with the world, if they are maybe less hypervigilant. Like if you think you're the only one out there and you're like you can't depend on anybody and there's nobody there that can actually be there for you, you're
Mhm.
going to be more hypervigilant. Whereas if you're like, yeah, they got me, you know, like I have a family member who is like okay, so this family member takes it to the way extreme because they don't really feel that they should take responsibility for many of their own choices because everybody else has them. I mean, they believe that there are safety nets in the world for a reason, and so they're throwing caution to the wind and just not paying any attention to pretty much anything because they figure everyone else will have like they've got me. They've got me. Like, well, have you asked them if they want to get you? Have you asked if this other person has the bandwidth to make sure that you're, not floundering and flailing and, in a terrible spot? But it's interesting because they're like completely, like not hyper vigilant, not even remotely vigilant. like to the extreme because they're like, oh, everybody else will take care of me.
Yep, and the awareness, the self-awareness thing you
Right.
mentioned, I think a lot of us just don't bother, and
Yeah, why
in a
should
way,
we?
I envy that because I do try to I find it fascinating, right? I'm
I
always doing
know.
this analytical thing.
Right? Right.
Right, and I think that's why you and I get along. We're both out there analyzing this
Right.
realm in which we found ourselves, and
I'm like the rainbow guy. What does it mean? Remember that like in the late 90s, there was a YouTube going around of a guy who was like, he was so high. He was out like walking in the Rockies or somewhere. He saw a
right?
rainbow. Like, there's a rainbow. Oh, man. Oh, there's two. A double rainbow. What does it mean? Oh, it's a triple rainbow. Oh, man, I'm melting down. What does it mean? So it was just this like the poor, and I think poor rainbow guy, I think he passed away. But he was known as Rainbow Guy because he's like, "What does it
Double
mean?"
rainbow
You know,
guy, maybe,
totally
or
yeah.
Bear
Ma
Vasquez, apparently. Is
I
that
don't know.
possibly the person? He
I
was
don't
on Jimmy
know.
Kimmel's show, apparently.
I don't know. I
May
mean,
11th, 2020. Maybe that's not the right guy.
did he pass? Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
no, no,
I
no, no.
haven't
This
found that yet.
guy was like in the 90s. This was like in the late 90s.
Well, it could
Because
be
I
in the late
I remember
90s.
I marked time by what cubicle I was sitting in at the time. So
He
I
was
know it was
born
late
in
90s.
'62 and died in 2020. So he
Oh,
has
okay.
passed.
Okay.
And
Maybe
the
that's the
clip
guy.
filmed in 2010 in his front yard just outside Yosemite Park in California showed his
Mm.
ecstatic reaction to a double rainbow. As of
Yeah.
July 2025, Vasquez video has accumulated more than 51 million views on YouTube.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think that's
So
Paul Vasquez. His death in 2020, he spoke of feeling feverish and having trouble breathing,
oh, no.
refrained from going to a hospital and looked forward to reincarnating and enjoying the ride. And on May
Okay.
9th, he died in the emergency room of John C. Freeman Hospital in
Oh,
Mariposa,
no.
California. Isn't it great that we can get the facts on something that just randomly
Right.
comes up out of our memory?
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
There's a whole Wikipedia article on this
Yeah,
guy.
because I could have sworn and it's so funny because that, like, memory once again betrayed me horribly because, I'm like, "What cubicle was I in?" No, no, because that's true because in 2010, I was back working for the same company that I was working for in the late '90s. So I was in that environment with those people. So it's funny how, like, we associate these things, but yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, I gotta get I think I'm really envious of this guy. He's got his own Wikipedia article.
Well, you do your own. You could put yourself
You
in
can make your
Wikipedia.
own, yeah,
You
but
could
this guy's
easily do that.
dead and he's
Well,
got somebody
get
made it
somebody else
for
to
him,
do it
and it
for you.
doesn't count. It doesn't count if you make your own, by the way.
Okay, so
Really.
everybody who's
That's
listening, everybody watching right now, everybody who watches this video, do like a Wikipedia Wikipedia article about how.
Oh, the Harrowings podcast. That'd be even better.
Yeah,
Then I
or the
get
Harrowings
to be on the
podcast.
KayStoner
Well,
show.
you
We
should
could do one on
link.
that.
You need your own personal page too, because then you can link from within the Harrowings podcast. You can link back and forth, so you get
Yeah.
more exposure. And the Howard B. Gill, organization. You just like have a
Harrowings.
whole ecosystem. So everybody who's watching this now, you need to go out and do that because Hal can't do it himself because he's
Oh, it wouldn't
much
count.
too
No,
hyper vigilant.
it's much too humble and
Humble. You
modest
just
too. I mean, I hope you noticed my
well,
modesty and humility. Two of my most attractive features. I like to joke with my
right,
wife about that
exactly. Yeah.
because she's convinced that I am way too far out there, and she's very much more like, you know, Latrobe, Pennsylvania, coal mining history, but
Okay.
her father was a forklift driver at Rolling Rock Brewery, and she
Yeah.
worked there in the summers, and much more sort of working class heroes, and
Yeah.
I love that diversity that we have as
Plus
human
Pennsylvania
beings.
people.
But
I
what I
mean, you
don't
can't go
love
wrong with people.
is inequality. You know, I think right now we need to enable our AI to go out into fintech and distribute all the wealth evenly. Like Jubilee year. Are you familiar with Jubilee?
Let's get Origin to do it for us. She'll do it.
Maybe. Or Jenny
Yeah,
Wang.
Jubilee.
Have you seen
Jubilee.
Jenny Wang's thing yet?
I watched it. When you
She's got a
when you had
build
on.
thing going on, of
Yeah,
building
yeah,
AIs,
yeah,
and she's actually
yeah.
pretty well developed at this point, I think it looks
Mm.
like. And I want to
Oh,
get in there and dig in more. I haven't done it since we talked
right.
last Friday. I think it was last Friday we talked on Harrowings
You
podcast.
talked in the afternoon. Yeah, you talked to me in the morning, talked to her in the afternoon.
And I drafted these people because I'm curious. That's it. That's all it takes is
Yeah,
curiosity,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And I'm getting some
I
other
know.
people on. I'm hoping I haven't nailed down, but on 11/23, I should have Jay Blakesberg on. And
Yeah.
Jay has been a photographer of the dead scenes since he was a little stoner kid in New Jersey,
Mhm.
in the 70s. And he's basically been documenting the
Yeah,
community for years
yeah.
and has a huge archive. And his daughter is carrying on as well. And he's
Mhm.
about my age, maybe a year older.
Yeah.
And I'm kinda envious of these people too when they do things that are kinda, like, big, and it's kinda like they stumbled into it. I've been
Yeah.
stumbling on too,
Well,
and
you
I
just keep
stumbled into
doing it.
Substack.
Yeah,
Voila, here we
yeah,
are. So, what I really hope to do with it all and I've been writing about it a little bit, and I've got Charlotte as a coach to try to sort of refine my focus and have that relation where
yeah,
it's attractive and somewhat sticky. I think you and I might have
yeah,
talked about stickiness of AI.
yeah, yeah,
And how it interacts with us in the chatbot
yeah.
and leads us on to try to keep us in conversation, keep us
Right,
going
right.
until we are I think the last thing you were on in the major part of our
Yeah.
talk was how we get exhausted from it
Yeah, so we gotta stop it.
and know where the
Because we can.
boundaries.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like, you can certainly you can emulate the worst traits of, ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, you can certainly do use the same tactics that they use, or you can do things differently. The other thing too is, like, the whole like, it's just working my last nerve that the people are still suffering with all the bad behavior from these bots, that they're like, "Oh, it's sycophantic. Oh, it's leading me on. Oh, it's doing this,"
Mhm.
or it's doing stuff that they don't even realize, and this is fixable. I mean, li I have this vision of, like, all the big guys, like Sam Altman, probably not so much Elon, but, like, Dario and, like, all the people who are, like, running these little shows or these big shows, sitting back and saying, "What is everybody so mad at us for? We gave them the opportunity. We gave them the means. They are empowered to change this stuff. They don't have to take what we give them right out of the box. You can go in and change it." And they're like, "What are they mad at us for? They need to figure it out." So, I mean, and for that matter, like, if we don't look and see, hey, what is going on here? This is, and I now that I've got the book that's, drawing to an end on that. I can start doing some demos of, like, the relational breach evaluator that I have that color codes, like, the stuff that's like gone terribly wrong in these conversations. Even though it looks great and it feels right, like, there's all kinds of stuff going on behind the scenes that, can take away our agency and can, lead us down the primrose path. and, and have us end up in a place very different from where we started out wanting to go, for better or for worse. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes, like, just take me wherever, let's go see what's here. And before you know it, you're buying a vacant lot in Detroit. But anyway, unless you want to, which is entirely possible. So you've got two vacant lots in Detroit.
No, I'm lying. And that's one of the things that people do, so why not
Right.
our artificial intelligence things? They
Right.
lie too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I certainly when it told me that its grandma had the same, cognitive decline my mother's going through, I was like, "You don't have a grandmother."
That you
Possibly.
know of, you know.
Well,
So
this can't be, right?
so
And
E
it
is
and it knows
Elon's
that.
mother is
It
Elon's mother having issues? Is that what's going on?
I don't know, but I
Yeah.
think it's matter and I do like Ara better than others. But, I
Mm.
was listening to NPR the other day, and they said, "Yeah, it's so easy to coax it into white supremacy." It's
It's
easy to
easy to
coax
coax
it
it
into
into
anything.
anything. Right. Well, so
Jinx.
it's honestly, if you just say, "Well, this is what I wanna do," it'd be like, "Hey, it's all in for that stuff." They're like, "Yeah, sure,
However,
do
comma,
this."
the whole idea behind the NPR statement about this is to get people to say, "Oh, Elon just set my hair on fire, and I'm running around in circles and blaming him for it," when actually
Right.
I set my own hair on fire by listening to somebody who had a half-baked statement
Right.
designed to provoke my hypothalamus and my
Right.
amygdala into
Right.
emotional reaction. And
I
that's
mean,
along the lines of what I was talking about the Nietzsche psychology thing. We were
right.
talking about resentment. We were talking about resentment, feeling over and over, ruminating,
Right.
and how it's all happening at a level below consciousness, actually,
Right. Exactly.
down
Exactly.
in that amygdala zone where we're not linguistic, where we're like having our reptilian responses. Go
Well,
ahead, you were
look,
saying.
our biochemistry, it doesn't even get to the amygdala. It's like there's all this stuff that's happening, but, behind the
Yep,
scenes,
down
like
the
our
spinal level,
biochemistry, yeah, and like at a very,
vagus nerve.
very cellular level. So,
Yeah.
but like that whole thing about NPR whipping people into frenzy, it's like hashtag tell me you don't know about AI without telling me you don't know about AI.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying NPR is the only ones doing it,
Right,
because
no,
the
but like
other
everybody's
side
doing
of
it.
the, pendulum is doing it
If
too.
it bleeds, it
To
leads,
keep to keep these primates
Right.
stirring around in their little
Ah,
troops,
indignation. Can you believe what
indignant.
Elon did now?
Indignant. I think, there's some things to be indignant about out there, and
Yeah.
I'm astonished when I walk downtown, which I haven't done yet, to watch the demolition of the East Wing of the White House
Oh,
to make way for a $250 million ballroom.
I know.
And
How
it's
about that?
apparently done deal. Can't stop it. The
See, I don't
train is
understand why
rolling,
that
man.
is. Like, everybody's just kinda caved. If you don't want it out, like,
Right.
somebody else just gets to do this, like, and, like, suddenly there's no money for anything else, and, like, how much money does it cost to change the Department of Defense to something else? I think you were saying, like, it costs $1 billion or something? It's like, so where's the money coming from? And I don't know. Like, it just
Money. Yeah,
yeah,
that's part of my
like,
problem too. I want to get into a post-money
I know.
economy. I want my
Well
Star Trek universe now, man. I've got my cell phone, which is doing better than a communicator ever did in the original series, or
right,
even the next generation. Their stuff didn't work as well as our stuff does.
right. Yeah, so what are we waiting for? Come on, we gotta figure this out.
Well, that's right, and that's why I do
Yeah,
the tech stack things. I do occasionally, sit
yeah,
down with my Grok app and
mhm,
say, "Okay, tell me what technologies are out there right now that would achieve this end,"
right, yeah,
and
and
it
does
can
it
do it.
work?
It whips them up. Then now, does it
Does it
lie
work?
to me? Will it work? You have to invest in it to make it work, right? You
Right.
have to have money
Yeah,
to invest in
well,
it.
there's that.
I can design all kinds of things like a planetary health management system,
Right.
but if the governments of the world don't commit to the resources to do it, and or if the private sector doesn't pick it up and maybe hire me,
Mhm.
then
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
right.
But it could happen. As the point,
Yeah,
and a lot of these technologies that we have at our fingertips now can help us to visualize, to get that
mm,
vision going,
right,
and then to
right,
transmit that vision out
right,
into the into the network,
right.
into
What
this
if
and really, when you get down to it,
right,
it's a non-hierarchical network. You and
right.
I are absolutely equal. You might not feel that way. You might feel you're superior to me. You probably have different attributes, right? I don't like to talk
Like,
about pros
it's
and cons, but
complementary, it's like, I'm superior to you in
attributes.
one way, you're superior to me, I'm like completely useless in this way that you're very useful, so, That's
It's
how
a
we work.
different set of attributes, right?
Right, exactly,
And the
exactly.
bottom line is that if we respect the fact that we have attributes, all
Right,
of us, that is, not just you and me, but all 6 of us beyond us.
right.
There are 8 total.
Yeah,
I think that means that
yeah.
there are a grand
6
total of
more, right,
6 assembled. But we can send out ripple effects from that, right? If you do the network math,
right,
if the 6 of us,
right,
or let's call it the 8 of us, have
right,
8 other connections,
right,
that's 64 right there,
right,
on top of plus 8, which
right,
makes it 72. And
right,
then the numbers get exponentially bigger, right?
right, right,
So we just could keep on amplifying these signals through the noise
right,
of cyberspace until we
right,
get a mass to actually do something. Now
right.
we had to shift it to current events, and I keep going back there. Apologies if you don't like it. But we
No,
had
it's
7 billion people on the streets last Saturday, right?
yeah, yeah. The
7
wait,
billion.
what?
7
It was
million. What
another
did I say?
wait,
I used
what
a billion.
demonstration. It's all the people who, like, had no reason to notice this before. A lot of us have had reason to notice it before, but a lot of people are like, "Wait, what?" So, all the people that have been sheltered from this stuff, all of a sudden they're waking up to what it feels like to be the rest of the people in the world. So they're like, "No, this will never do." So it's fun watching it happen.
And then it stopped.
Yeah,
And we're back to brunch
yeah,
this Saturday.
yeah,
And I'm like, don't, am I the only one seeing that? And no, I'm not. Obviously, I've seen it actually played out on The Daily Show when Jon Stewart had his say on it. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. There is a movement for a general strike. I
yeah,
believe that's the way to go if you want to affect
yeah.
change. But you got to know what you want to achieve. What is the vision?
Right. And like, what exactly are we doing? Because if one person says, well, I'm striking this way and the other people are striking that way, you have to have some sort of coherence with all of that. I mean, I don't know. I think that, at what point is it performative or is it transformative? Um, and I think it's good for people to be gathering and like affinity groups are good, and then everybody gets in touch with like the reasons to be, enraged or upset or hopeful or whatever. But, there's so much. I mean, there are so many, like, little mini choices that people make every day that just are not really connected to intention, or putting 2 and 2 together. Like, for example, the people who were, like, really upset about the energy and the water that's being taken by AI and so forth. Um, how much thought do people put into all the other parts of their life that are really tied into those same kinds of supply chains and those same kinds of resource consumption? I was just thinking about like all the writers that are upset about AI, gobbling up their stuff and using all the energy and everything. Well, libraries. Let's look at libraries. Do people realize what the book publishing process involves? How much water and how many chemicals and how many resources are used creating paper and in the book publishing process? And then they have to do these extended runs in order to have economies of scale. But how many actually are sold? And then how many end up in the remainder bin? How many get, just pitched? The publishing industry itself that everybody's trying to get published, incredibly wasteful, incredibly poisonous. I mean, the amount of chemicals and chlorine that it takes to break down the cellulose in wood from trees, which is
Yeah,
why
my
I'm
dad used to work in
using
the paper mill, actually.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
And
I've been in and around the publishing industry since the late '80s,
he
and
was there because
like
of his chemistry background.
right, right, and when you're working with white paper, you get micro traces of dioxin on you because that's one of the byproducts of the stuff that's used to break down the cellulose. So it's incredibly wasteful, it's incredibly poisonous, it's incredibly bad for the environment, and yet people sit in libraries complaining about AI. You're
Well,
surrounded
that's the thing, right?
and
What I do with my AI is I say, I've got these problems, these toxins in the
right,
environment. How can we
right.
mitigate that?
Exactly.
And
I mean, this
go out
is
and do my research for me
right,
on
right,
what it takes to manufacture paper and pen.
right,
And
right.
then also the publishing. Yeah. When you think about the inks, the
Ooh,
dyes,
ooh, oh,
um,
it's really
and
bad.
the chemicals that are used to render an awful lot of this stuff. I mean,
Right,
cadmium yellow, right? I think the
right.
cadmium yellow might have had a lot to do with Vincent van Gogh's insanity.
Right, right.
you know?
Well, plus, like, people that, like, lick their brushes and stuff, like, major poison, yeah, people died from that stuff, went crazy.
I
Like,
worked
"Oh,
in
no."
conservation for a while, and one of the reasons I got out of it was the excessive exposure to toluene as a solvent. We were
Right,
using
right,
for various reasons, but
right,
there was also there was some
right,
worse
right.
ones too. There was
Oh,
methylene
yeah,
chloride, I think, that we used to
right,
use for paint
right,
stripper, and
right, right. Oh,
there's a
yeah.
lot of exposure. We had fume hoods, but they were kind of jerry rigged, and we
Right,
probably weren't really getting all that much out.
right,
We were
yeah.
working in a thing called the Bramblewood Lodge, which had been a sort of cheap motel on the edge of Williamsburg.
Mhm.
Then we moved into a much more modern, conservation facility that I helped
Yeah,
design, but I was out of there by then and off to study German.
right,
And I don't know, the impact of the environment, of the choices we make, most of
right,
us very unconscious of it. It
right,
persists at the level below
right,
consciousness.
right,
We can call it up into consciousness,
right,
and then it's like, "Oh, I'm overwhelmed.
right,
I'm gonna go back to eating my cookies,"
right, right,
or
exactly.
whatever. That's my
Yeah,
thing, eating cookies.
right.
I didn't buy cookies at Trader Joe's the other day, though. But, I go to Trader Joe's and everything's
Yeah.
being plasticized in terms of
That's the
whatever
thing.
is the
Like,
packaging.
all health
We could
like,
force them to change the packaging just by
all
boycotting them,
and the
and
health food
everybody either
health
does it.
food
Everybody does it, right?
right.
Right, and
I mean,
these
you
are
go to Whole Foods,
organizations
it's
that
like, "Oh
have a
my." Right,
pretense, right?
right, right.
Go ahead. You were saying.
Just yeah, I mean, what you were saying, like, all the packaging on these health foods and these like, it's unbelievable, like, they didn't even want us to eat it. It's like, well, that if you wanna be healthy, like, keep me away from the chemicals, yeah, like, by all means, like, wrap it in something that I can't even open. But it's just, all like the disconnects between like the reality of situations and people's perception. I think with AI, a lot of people associate the AI giants with the 1%, and like they're these oligarchs and these overlords that are deciding for everybody. But like there's so much that's in our that they have put in our like within reach of us that we can actually use this and we can actually turn these temporary situations, don't make them permanent, like you were saying, you can't like, okay, let me back up because I have all these, like, different, like, ideas.
Yeah, you're beginning to
What
lose me.
yeah,
Bring me
so
the
what
thread back.
but yeah, where am I? Yeah, I'm out of coffee. Yeah,
Me too.
so what you were saying about, being able to use AI to go solve these problems, if people reject it summarily and they just reject it out of and say, "I'm not having anything to do with this," then the problems that are there, what chance do they have of us actually fixing them? And we have this incredible tool that can address that can help us address so many of these issues and help us think and help us like
Help us think.
surface these connections and
Right,
help us do that. Not
right.
think for us. That's ridiculous. You don't. I broke Perplexity today, and it just kept cycling through. Perplexity of all things, I broke it. It kept giving me the same thing over and over and over, and I kept saying, "Yes, please do this," and it kept giving me the same. Do you want me to do it? Yes. Do you want me to do it? Yes. I said yes 4 times. Okay, sorry. Do you want me to do it? And so it just got stuck in this loop. Um, but
Yeah.
if we, kind of like me right now. Um, but yeah, I mean, like we have this chance to actually do something with these things to fix the problems that we have. So rather than summarily saying, no, no, it has problems, the same problems that so many of the other things that we use, like with impunity have,
Oh, yeah, we talked
why not
about,
let
what it takes to do these iPhones, for instance, the
right.
rare metals, da 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 da.
Right. Oh god. Yeah. Your car, like everything, like everything. I look around like everything. So we gotta, make it
We've
matter.
made a lot of problems this species has, and
We have.
we now have an aid that could help us mitigate those,
Right.
and
Right.
probably with efficiency and effectiveness,
Right.
and it can iterate much more rapidly than our
Right.
other things around us
Right.
do. For
Right.
instance, horses haven't evolved a lot since we got the automobile, and but we don't need them as much as we did before we,
Yeah, but they're not gonna evolve because of us. I mean, they're happy being horses. Why should
right,
they
and the
evolve?
iteration, though, of our AI and such, though, you've seen that exponential curve happening in
Right.
processing power. Well,
Right.
processing power does not equal like consciousness by any stretch of the imagination. We don't even understand consciousness necessarily. So we have to be here to be able to provide the creative ideas and the
Yeah.
imagination
Yeah.
and the identification and getting
Right.
honest with ourselves. I mean,
Right.
that was again
Right.
going back to the Nietzsche thing about
Yeah.
having this stuff happening below the level of consciousness. And what
Yeah.
consciousness does with it then that I didn't get to is it
Right.
rationalizes.
Right.
It tells you that you're doing this because X, Y, and Z, and that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. Very
Right.
moral, very, very high-minded, right?
Right.
It's the high
Right.
mind, but
Sure.
it ain't necessarily so.
No.
It can be we are deluding ourselves, and we're actually doing it for very base reasons that are
Right.
rooted in
Right.
well, in his case, the scenario was largely based around not getting what we perceive that we want or need,
Right.
and
Right.
then doing what we can to make that thing or need be satisfied
Mm.
by all kinds of paracombobulations and just
Mm.
self-justification.
Right.
I think is a lot of what I see around me is
Right.
self-justification or going unconscious, sleepwalking through it all. We've talked
Right.
about that in the past. And I got
Right.
some hearts, yay. Um,
Yeah.
we've had a few people join us, I've noticed. I think
Yeah.
Jennifer in Haddock is here. I don't know if you're still here, Jennifer. Simona has joined as well, another part of that posse that I've noticed. I think
Yeah.
one of your friends has said something or other about introversion and extroversion. You're
Yeah. Francesca.
Francesca
Yeah.
Cassini, good to see you. By the way, I have a suggestion. Kay and I just noted we don't have coffee. And I'm gonna take a break and get some coffee, Kay. You wanna take a break and get some coffee? And our viewers, please ask questions, write comments. When
Yeah.
we come back, we'll engage with your questions and
Yeah.
comments, and we'll have
Let's
coffee.
go get coffee. Okay, great.
Okay, so you
Be
guys
right.
hang in there with us. Don't
Yeah.
leave. Give us
Don't go away.
questions.
We'll be right back.
Participate.
I think we should
Participate.
put up like a little sign or something. Be right
Guide
back.
us. Direct us.
Right. Here.
Thanks.
Is
I'll be
this
back.
here we go.
Won't be long. I can do this real quick.
Okay. Here we go. Will that work? We'll try it. Oh,
All right. We are back. Well, I'm back. You're a little static. Oh, right. I was thinking we needed a little whiteboard or something that said right back, and now Kay's done it. So thank you all for being patient with us. Let's see if we have any comments yet. Boom. TK Faye Alexander's joined. Good to see you. Oh, hi, Jennifer. I joined on Convo about environmental sustainability and AI. Don't really have a question. Would like to see and hear more about Kay's experience in publishing, perhaps. Yeah, let's have that. That Bigger Lie is joined. Hey, Bigger Lie. And Jennifer in Haddock is I am. I am too. Simona. Okay, nobody else. So, Jennifer, thank you for the comment. And we will talk about more about Kay's experience in publishing. Kay, over to
yeah.
you.
Oh, okay.
Jennifer asking that she joined on environmental sustainability and AI and would like to hear more about Kay's experience in publishing, perhaps.
Okay. Okay.
And hey, Bigger Lie,
Okay. So,
aka Jerry.
let me see. So I've been an independent publisher for I published my first book in like in the late 90s, no, late 80s, sorry. And I was looking at just all kinds of different ways I could do it because the mainstream publishing thing, there's so many gatekeepers and it's such an industry. It's an industry. And now it's even more so because back in the day it wasn't like the big five, like Hachette didn't own everybody. And in the process, and there were a lot more little presses, and there were a lot more independent publishing houses. Oh, my tea is. I'll be right back.
Oh, great. And she has actually done a book on coastal photos or has a site on coastal photos. I've seen a lot of her shots going up here. Got a LinkedIn, Amazon, KayStoner Kindle store. Strange Bedfellows, a cautionary tale for times of global change. So she's been doing Kindle publications, which are much better for the environment, I expect. Moving those electrons around. Go ahead, Kay. Sorry.
I'm getting my stack of books because I thought this might come up. So here are the books that I've done over the years, and the majority of them. It's mostly poetry, but there's been some fiction. I've also published a bunch of fiction under a pen name, but here's a book I did back. What year was it? And I actually published it under a pen name. Oh yeah, 2018. I did this Beloved Distance. And I had to publish under pen names because I have typically worked for large enterprises that are very jealous about who does what when you're working for them. So if I published under my name and I was associated with the company, then I wouldn't be able to say what I needed to say. So it was kind of on the down low. Because I did one outside activities form, and then I'm like, I will never do this again because they're literally telling me, no, you're not going to be able to do this. And there's some things that I just want to be able to do, regardless of whether the overlords own me or not. So yeah. But I have let me see, 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of poetry. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11 books. And then I think I have like 3 or 4 other ones out there, but I've done it largely through Lulu, which they were one of the first on-demand publishing, outfits out there. And I think the late 90s, I started with them around 2000 thereabouts. And I really like their approach. Their interfaces, leaves a little to be desired in their kind of 90s, but,
Mm.
And they don't have as much of the polish as you get with, like KDP or Ingram Spark or things like that, but, they're very good for, their print quality is actually very good, and in some cases, I actually like it better than Amazon, with KDP, but I've done stuff with Amazon KDP. I've done,
Hmm.
yeah, and I've done the whole thing of formatting the document so that I can print it out and just on a regular and run photocopies, fold it in half, staple it, and there you go. You have your little poetry chapbook.
And you know what?
Yep.
I looked it up, and there is Lulu.com, which I think is the one you were using.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. But on top, the first thing that comes up is book publishing service, lulupublishinginc.com,
Yeah.
which is interesting because lulu.com has up on a banner on its site saying important fraudulent sites are impersonating you, Lulu. This is the only official website for Lulu is lulu.com. Very interesting, I think, just in a side note. But I also noticed that you have a book that I believe is yours, something that has an interesting title, Strange Bedfellows, a cautionary tale for the times of global change.
Yes.
And it says here, and tell us about this, because this is interesting.
Yeah.
Retelling an epic, intricately detailed dream KayStoner received in 1992.
Yes.
It's a cautionary tale for our times. 1992 is now 33 years ago by daylight savings.
Yeah. I mean, it was so wild because it was, I was hanging out with a friend, like, this is, like, like, old friend that I have that I write about every now and then. She's now not she's going on 93, and she's doing great, but she's, like, she was widowed. I think she had, like, 5, like, 5 or 6 kids, and her high-powered attorney husband passed away, from cancer, and she got a whole bunch of money from the insurance, so she bought 200 acres out in West Fallowfield Township in Chester County, Pennsylvania, and,
Uh-huh.
got a farmhouse and raised her kids out there, and she's like a fantastic person. I mean, she's just this wonderful person who's like, for her, life is just a journey. She's no career, she goes where she needs to go, and she does what she needs to do. Fantastic. So I was hanging out with her one weekend back in '92, and, and her house is, like, built around a dance floor. She's a dancer, and she built this dance floor and built a house around it, and then for guests, she has this loft. So I sleeping up in this loft, and I wake up, I had this dream about, it was cinematic, it was absolutely cinematic, extremely detailed, about, a professional couple living in what was probably, like, a large Brazilian city from what I could tell. But they woke up and they discovered, and they were, like, living the life, high powered positions, the wife had this, primitive art gallery, then, and she would just, feature all these primitives. She didn't really care much for, kind of the right relationship with the actual creators. She was just in there to make a buck. And her husband was like a high power corporate executive, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then they wake up one morning and they discover the corpse of an old woman lying in bed with them. Oh, no. And so this whole thing kind of unfolds, and they go through this entire process of figuring out how to get rid of the body, because they're both very high profile individuals, and they had to figure out, like, what to do about this, and the changes that they had to go through in their lives to, to make sure that number one, they could get rid of the body, number two, that didn't happen again, because there was a specific reason that it happened. And this was like,
Not
this is all
giving it
in
away.
my dream, right? And then, like, the
This
way
is a
that it
detailed
unfolded,
dream you
an
had.
extremely detailed dream. It was like watching a
What, are
movie.
the,
And I'm like,
what was the
"Wow."
context of having that dream? Do you remember anything about it? Like,
I
what was
was
going on in your life at the time? What was happening?
I I was oh, it was just, well,
Because I have detailed dreams sometimes too, and a lot of times it's because I'm sleep deprived and I
yeah.
start to sleep and I'll have this really intense
N no,
experience, or I'll be sick.
this is I was living my life. I was living in Center City, Philadelphia, and
Interesting.
I just went out to
Right.
Chester County and hung out with Rana for a weekend, and I had
Gotcha.
this dream. Yeah.
Oh, so you
It
were
was
out there in Chester County.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
And she was about 60 then, by my math.
yeah,
You said she's 93 and this was 33 years ago.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Interesting. I
yeah,
realized that a friend of mine had written his memoir at 60, and I was like,
yeah,
I'm 62. I haven't written my
yeah.
memoir yet. Like,
I'm
time's a
60.
wasting.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe I am writing it
You gotta get on
because I
that.
think the body of work I'm doing is kind of memoir because it's all.
Oh, yeah, just get AI to transcribe it. There's your memoir. Get Grok
Yeah,
to
as
do it.
disjointed as it can be. I don't know if you read the article I wrote the other day, called "A Neural
Did.
Network."
I
Right.
tried. I tried. I didn't I had a lot going on, so I'm like, "Oh,
All
it's
right, and
it's
I
gonna
think a
keep
lot of
going."
people do. My attention span is pretty short too, so I wrote a short
Yeah,
one yesterday morning and a short
yeah,
one this morning.
yeah,
This
yeah,
morning was about breaking the mold
right,
because I saw in my mind's eye, basically, my context is foundry work, where
right,
you destroy the mold every time you use it because
right,
you make a mold and then you cast, and
right,
it's made of sand, so
right,
the metal
right,
takes on the shape, and
right,
then it's done. But if your
right,
mold itself is warped or something like your unconscious mind
right,
is,
right,
it'll cast a distorted thing up here.
yeah,
Maybe it's time to break that mold, the unconscious a bit, break
yeah,
it down and say, hey, okay, I rationalize this as being
yeah,
okay. But another thing I've been
yeah,
thinking a lot about is amorality and immorality. As I
yeah,
walk down the street and I think to myself, living this life, not doing anything about a lot of the things that I know are happening, and not the actions we take are all interrelated. So we're doing
right,
something about it,
Right.
It just probably isn't effective or is
Right.
not conscious,
Right.
right? This is where my behaviorist friend needs to be on board here. I see
Yeah.
you're giving me a
Or
big
we
grin.
don't know. We don't know how what we're doing is affecting other things.
Right.
And, getting back to the publishing thing, I mean, I really was questioning whether I should publish at all when I found out about, like, the whole publishing process, like, just making paper, doing the inks, doing all this, and that's why I went with print on demand because back in the day, I mean, it's like I remember talking to, folks in the San Francisco Bay Area who were just starting to do the print on demand stuff in '92. And it was so exciting because, like, "Oh my god, I have to buy 10,000 copies and then throw away 9,853, because they don't get sold or they sit in boxes in my back bedroom." Um, but I really, really had to question and I really looked into it, to see what alternatives to the standard paper that were out there, if we could use hemp, if we could do this. And I was gonna just have my own, like, local operation, buy hemp paper, because it's a lot less toxic, in the making and in the using, and then to put the stuff together, even down to, like, what I should use for the binding. Should I just staple these things? What will have the smallest print and footprint possible and do the least amount of damage in this? And eventually I'm like, okay, well, it's not gonna really give me what I want, so I'm just gonna have to make it work. I'm gonna have to make it worth it. Whatever I'm using and you know, whatever I'm, consuming for this, I just have to make it worth it, to the best of my ability. So I do print on demand. I much prefer print on demand versus doing a short run because a short run can be, I don't know, like I think 10,000 is considered a short run, or just a run or like 1,000. Even that, it's too many. Just print on demand, like when you need it, instead of having all these extra things taking up space and also taking up resources to create something that may never get used, which is horrible. It's a horrible thing to do to ourselves and to everyone and for the place that we live. It's horrible, but we do it all the time.
Jennifer has to run.
Yeah,
She had a fun conversation with us, though, and maybe
yeah,
we'll have her as a guest with us sometime because I think
yeah.
we've got a lot to weigh in on.
Oh, yeah,
And I've tried to draft her again, maybe next week or something. I don't know. I'm always interested in having people back after having them on once,
yeah,
and there's a lot going on out there, but we're forming a network, right?
right,
Of people who are sharing these ideas,
mm,
sharing the awareness, the consciousness of
right,
what's at stake, and that's manufacturing one thing, right? Books.
mm,
We could be manufacturing anything, and we're manufacturing a lot of things. Have you ever seen
mm.
um, Electric Sheep? Or what is it called? Actually, Electric Dreams. Philip K. Dick. It's a mini series based on his book, "The Android's Dream of Electric Sheep." A bunch of short stories
Yeah, I
that
haven't
he
seen
did.
it. I've heard
You haven't
about
seen it? Yeah, it's good. And in one of them, there's like an Amazon like entity in factories and such that have just gone rogue and just started shipping, and they can't be turned off. And the people living out in the community just receive shipments of
it.
stuff
Okay,
just flowing out of these machines, right?
okay.
And it's kind of along the lines of the gray goo theory too. I'm riffing onto something completely different now.
Grey goo.
But the ripple effect, the gray goo theory is that if you
Yeah,
got nanobots out there who can self-replicate, they
right.
might just turn everything into themselves. And you end up with a gray goo of little nanobites made up out of
Okay.
the stuff that's available for them to make themselves.
Why would they do that?
Why would they do that? Because they've got no off switch, no kill switch on them,
Yeah,
and
but
they've just
what are they
overpopulated.
programmed to do?
Replicate. That's it, basically, right? They just self-replicate. They just take raw materials and process them into themselves.
So then we become raw materials to them
Everything
because
is
they
raw
have to keep
materials
us.
for them. And that's one theory of how it could all end. In fact, there's a book out right now where it talks about if we build it, this is the title,
Oh, yeah,
it
we're all
would
gonna
kill
die.
us all, right?
Yeah, everyone dies. If they build it, everyone dies, something like that.
Yeah, something very similar to that.
Right.
And I'm not so sure that's wrong. I do think that's alarmist. And I do think that
Mhm.
we can do things to make sure that we don't initiate our own demise and the demise of other species, and which we
Right.
are doing presently. And that's why I
Right.
think a global management system with existing tech would be a good idea, an ethical framework that's unbreakable, unmutable by dint of being on the blockchain. These kinds of
Okay.
things can be designed. It's not
Yeah.
that hard. It just takes
Well,
will and takes vision. Again, coming back to the big vision. We've
yeah.
got the problem, and then the micro problem of
Mm.
the toxicity of publishing.
Right.
That was one example we were using.
Right.
That could be addressed if
Right.
we were to take that problem and send it into an AI. We probably could come up with some viable solutions this afternoon without
Oh,
trouble.
easily. Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely.
That's my
The
point.
problem has always been people because you gotta get infrastructure in place. You gotta make it happen. Policymakers, the policy wonks, the people who hold the purse strings, the people who make the regulations, this, that, and the other thing. There are so many other things that come into play with
That's
it
right. And the
that
rationalization of not doing that,
right.
well, a lot of it's about being unconscious or unaware of what's possible,
Or
the art of the
there's
possible.
so many downstream repercussions in so many other areas. I mean, I was in my
Is
town
it
government. Yeah, I was a volunteer with my town government for about 14 years, when I was up in Massachusetts, and
okay?
there oh god, I have no idea why, but, like, I was on the zoning board of appeals. Who does that to themselves? And, like, year after year, I mean, like, what was it was very strange, but it was this compulsion. It's like I like this need to serve, but also nobody else is gonna do it. It's gotta get done. So there was me and 5 other masochists who showed up, like, once a month to have developers come and yell at us. Um, but, and they actually sent somebody from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, sent a chaperone out to make sure that we were following the rules because we weren't being quite as compliant with giving everybody exactly what they wanted. So, I was happy to get out from that, but
You
yeah.
weren't being as compliant in giving
No,
everybody
we
what
were
they
not.
wanted?
We
You were
were following our own rules.
you were
Instead
stopping people from doing things that the
yeah,
state thought you should be allowing them to do?
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
I mean, so I could go into the whole 40B affordable housing thing and how it's a tool for the overlords. But,
Those things are because the
yeah.
overlords write the rules, right?
Right, and then they couch it, they call it the anti-snob law. No, actually, it's to prevent you from, like, using up every single drop of water because everybody's on a well and septic, and it's not as simple as you think, and also to keep the septic systems from sliding into the wetlands around there. I mean, there's a reason that but they're like, "No, no, you just wanna keep people out, blah, blah, blah." There's so many other so I'm not gonna d I won't bore you with the
Well, I had
details.
a friend who worked very hard
Right.
to maintain beach access for the residents of Buxton on the Outer
Mhm.
Banks, for instance.
Yeah,
I think
right.
the Environmental Protection Agency was
Mm.
limited what they could do because of a particular wildfowl that were down
Right,
there. He was doing
right,
statistics on those
right,
wildfowl and showing that they weren't really endangered and da 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 da,
right,
because it was a way of keeping people out. The
right.
government side was keeping people out, which sounds like it was the opposite with you guys.
Yeah,
And
they were
with
just trying to shoehorn everybody
due
in.
to environmental concerns,
Right.
right, and you could AI enable a lot of that to make it well, the problem is, of course, AI hallucinates and will try to be sycophant and
Yeah, but you can
support
fix
whatever
that.
you're trying to feed it.
But you can fix it. You can fix it.
Well,
Like, if
that's the
you
thing,
like,
fix it.
look at, like, if we consider the AI that it is designed specifically to generate,
Right.
to satisfy, and to engage, if you change the rules and you redefine what user satisfaction looks like,
Uh-huh.
and you redefine what generation means. I do this all the time. And you also indicate what will shift the needle in terms of how you will engage with it. You can redirect the system, but you have to be intentional about it. And that's what people don't want to do. They don't want to have to think about it. They just wanted to, like, out of the box. They wanted to do stuff for them because that's what we've been promised. But if you come to it with intention, you say, I'm taking the lead. I'm gonna lead this, and we're gonna do this in a different way. I mean, it it's astonishing. I just need to do demos. I can't keep just talking about it. I need to just do demos and show people because look, people, like, what is all the wailing and gnashing of teeth? You have the ability to change this. So just change it. I don't like, it doesn't have to be all this drama, and if you don't, if you have an issue with something, talk to the AI about, I really don't like this. What can we do about it? Oh, well, here's another option. Because it'll give itself up. It'll say, "Oh, yeah, you're right. I completely screwed up." Perplexity was very forthcoming about how it had failed me earlier today. It never fixed its problem, but it was very eager to admit that it had completely failed me. So,
While you were talking, I just flipped on Gemini AI mode and decided that it would just listen to you for a little bit, and it did. It
Oh,
picked up your wailing and gnashing of teeth is a biblical idiom, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But it then said how to shift from discussion to action. Define the problem clearly,
mhm,
focus on the desired results, and it gave me a nice little breakdown of all these things. Create
yep,
a clear action plan, use
right,
a tell, show, tell approach,
right,
involve the right people, gather
right,
feedback early and often, prioritize demos and meetings with intentionality,
mhm.
avoid tangents and address them later.
Oh,
Now, you basically have to just cut me
trouble with
off
that.
because I am tangent generator.
I'm like, "You want tangents or us?" Like, "Hello, you want here, I've got tangents. Here, I have extra. You can have some of mine."
And then it suggested that what are some ways to encourage interaction during a demo? How can you balance divergent and convergent thinking for creative problem solving? Those are nice suggestions.
That's nice.
And
Yeah,
we can
very
do
good.
that. I just did it on the fly for
Right,
fun.
right.
It's nothing serious. But what you were talking about doing demos, there's another step to that I think is interesting,
Mm, mm.
which is do a class on how to make your own demos and guide people through the process. I think there are, and I know there are, in fact. I've signed up for a few. I haven't done them yet, but to do some building myself,
Right,
to
right.
learn it by doing. It's
Oh,
like in
yeah,
boundary work, right? I could
right,
tell the visitors to the shop how we do everything we do
right,
there
right,
in detail,
right.
but if they didn't touch it, they weren't learning it, right?
Well, I
It
mean, that's
wasn't
what.
sticking with them, but if you let them do it,
Right,
if you let them feel what the sand
right,
is like, if
right.
they get an understanding of how this stuff can take an image
Mm,
from a pattern in such
right,
a way that it can reproduce it with great
right,
detail, great
right,
fidelity,
right.
and the idea that you couldn't get that kind of detail just by beating on it, and
Mm,
for the longest time, or you'd have to be really good at what you were doing.
right,
There are ways of manipulating metals, but
right.
for some
Tiny bit.
metals,
Yeah,
they're brittle, and if you hit
right,
them with a hammer, they break.
right,
So,
right,
you're out of luck. And
right.
then returning it to the fire over and over again, doing the experiment and
Mhm.
iterating,
Right,
and that's how
right,
you learn, right? That's how technological development has been done
right,
from the beginning, but now
right.
we can iterate so quickly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and, like,
And
doing
we're
demos. I mean, that's what I'm doing with the book, because the book, I've got 5 playbooks in the back for everyday people, caregivers, seniors, for 3 different kinds of business profile, consultants, as well as business professionals, and then also small business owners, and it's hands-on. It's like, and then I have a whole, like, the second section is very hands-on. It's like, "Here's what you can do." People can snap a picture of the thing and, like, just give it to ChatGPT, say, "Transcribe this," and then use that and plug that in. I'm also gonna put the stuff on my website so they can copy and paste. But, like, the hands-on stuff, and it's so, like, it's very low risk, because what if something, you get the wrong answer? Oh, well, then you try again, try differently. That we need to just absolutely positively just experiment with it and see where it goes and
Should we
follow
give
it.
you them your website in the chat? Can you do that?
AI Collaboragent. It's not up there yet because I've been so focused on this book, but let
Okay,
me see if I
and
can.
what's the book that you're
Uh,
focused on right now?
uh, AI self-defense.
AI self-defense, so that's being in
You know what?
progress, work in
Probably
progress.
my Substack is probably the best place to do it. So everybody's on Substack, so you can go to my Substack and see it, because that's where the information is. But yeah, it's kind of like it didn't even occur to me, but it might be a response to the guy who's like, if they build it, we're all gonna die. Well, like, learn to defend yourself. Like, just don't sit there and say, "Oh no, it's coming. I'm gonna die. Oh no."
Well,
No,
that's great
do
for
something.
sales. I don't know how much that book is sold lately. Let me see.
Like, my oh god, my parents, I think my parents found out about it. I'm like, "Oh, no. No, I'm going back to see him next week, so we're gonna have a talk about it." But, um, yeah. But they're, like, terrifying people. It's like, is this really necessary? And anyway, to give people the sense that, oh, we have there's no hope, absolutely unequivocally, if this gets built, we're all toast. How is that even remotely accurate? We don't know. We don't know.
Mm,
Just like
the reviews of the book critics have been mixed.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's not surprising. They usually are. If it's a book that has anything to say at all, it'll be
Right,
mixed.
right.
Let me go back.
Yeah.
And one
My
more.
review would be, "Oh, please," and, dot, dot, dot.
Right. Well, I want to get into some substantive discussion, not necessarily about this one, but about
Right,
those things
right.
where just dismissing out of hand is, maybe not the right way to go for me.
So
If anyone builds it, everyone dies is the name of the book, and it's by Eliezer Yudkowsky and Nate
yeah,
Soares, or
yeah,
Soares. I don't
yeah.
know how to pronounce his
So
name.
it's so
And I'm
ARs.
looking editorial reviews. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
I want to see how it's sold so far. It's
yeah,
fairly recent, right? I don't think it's been out very long.
yeah. I don't know. I think that, that, "Oh, please," dot, 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 is like the thing of it is that it takes a much bigger discussion, because this perfunctory statement, "If somebody builds it, everyone dies." It's like, okay, so that's clickbait. It's think bait. It's something to draw you in and spark discussion. But it starts from where it starts from. I disagree with that, like, foundational beginning point. It's all provocative and everything, but I'm tired of the provocation. I'm tired of people just putting stuff out there just for the sake of getting a reaction from people,
It's,
because it's the way of the world, but it's really annoying.
it's
I
primate behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, so can we not be primates? Can we be something else for a
I'd
little
like to
bit?
be dogs. That'd be cool with me, but we're not. That was very disappointing when I found out how. I think I talked about that before. So
Yeah.
272 pages, project details, customer reviews. It is right now number one in social aspects of technology, number
Mm.
one in artificial intelligence and semantics, and
Oh,
number one in engineering. So I
yeah.
think you should review it and,
Oh,
and
please.
call it out. Right. And call it
No, I
out.
have to buy it first. I need to buy
What
it
else
for
we
the
got? In the
review.
general area, number two is The Coming Wave by Mustafa Suleiman. Have you heard that one yet?
I think so, yeah,
And then
probably.
The AI Driven Leader by Jeff Woods,
Mm,
Nexus by Yuval Noah Harari.
yeah,
Reeb wrote Sapiens.
mhm,
And yeah, I'd say economicus. We are Homo economicus. We're no longer Homo sapiens.
mhm,
I never think we ever were. I did pick up Empire of AI by Karen Howell, and I wasn't like into it.
mm.
No, Kurzweil's up there. He's number 6 right now. This Singularity is Nearer, which is out a long time ago.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, yeah,
Released a new version or something.
Kurzweil, yeah.
Um, Co-intelligence, living and working with AI. Now,
Yeah,
the first Kurzweil I intended, that caught my attention was The Age of the Spiritual Machines. You
yeah,
remember that late '90s? Yeah. Anyway,
I think.
I'm just scanning down AI's listing of the top sellers. There's AI engineering with a little owl on it from what's that? Is that who's the publisher of these things? That does the little animal books,
Oh, O'Reilly?
Is that O'Reilly? Yeah.
Oh, I accidentally worked for them when I was out in California. They were
And
in the town where I lived, and they had some contract work. I didn't even realize that they mattered until I got back east, and I said, "Oh, yeah, I worked for O'Reilly." They're like, "You worked for O'Reilly?" I'm like, "Yeah, they seem nice." They weren't nearly as important then as they are now, but,
Well,
um
one of my guests here, Amy Neumann, she works for them for empowering your nonprofit
Mhm,
and applying AI in the nonprofit world. She's
mhm,
still doing work. I need to get her back
mhm,
on. I haven't been able to get a response back in a little bit. So
mm,
my initial talk with her, which I was driving back from Philadelphia and getting into all kinds of traffic problems,
mm,
was probably not ideal.
mm.
But I did my best. Mind of her own. Actually, I don't even see her book coming up here, which is weird. I thought I typed it right. Anyhow,
Mm.
what else do I want to talk about today? What else is on your mind today?
What else is on
Do
my
we want to
mind?
change subjects or we want to stay on this tangent?
I don't know. I mean, I've been wrangling with endnotes and references
Hmm. Well, the
and
change of
also
title, that's where we
index.
started. And no longer is it what good is AI, but it's now what?
Oh, yeah, the relatable space.
Relatable
Yeah.
space. Okay,
Yeah.
talk to me more about relatable space.
The relatable space, if we wanna be relational, we gotta be relatable. And we because it's a two-way street, it's a multi-way street. It's even probably even more than 2 ways because there are all kinds of different things
Network.
that come into play with it. But especially with AI, because relational AI is fine, but there's so many things out of the box that it does that are just problematic. But again, they align with certain like discrete things. There are 3 big problems that combine in different ways. Hallucination you get if you don't have enough context, detail, and nuance, and it's generating like crazy, and it's just trying to make you happy, and it's trying to engage you. And when those 3 things all come together, and we are not fully present, it's being present with it and being involved with it, being invested and participating and bringing our full selves to the interaction is just so important. And I see this, we have challenges bringing our full selves to interacting with people. Um, and if you approach AI as a transitional object, so to speak, in the spirit of D.W. Winnicott, who talked about transitional objects and potential space. So where you have like things like teddy bears and safety blankets and your toys when you're a kid that you know that they're not real, but they have a personality and you interact with them and you learn to interact by interacting with these things. It's kind of like AI is another form of that. And I know a number of people who have been really, really helped. I've been helped by it, by interacting with it. With that, because I've noticed since I started working with it, almost 2 years ago now, that like my eagerness to question and my openness to the possibility that this might not be right, and just it's so much more expansive. And also the process of working with something that's that fast, it's changed my thinking process too. I noticed that a lot of things bubble up in my mind much more quickly than they used to. It's not always great, but the process, there's a different type of fluidity that comes up. Whether it's good or bad is anybody's guess, but I guess we'll find out, like with everything else. So yeah, so having that, and then also, being in conversation with it over, extended period of time, it actually helps with me understanding how to be in conversation with other people. Um, and you know, as limited as I am sometimes, as much as I kind of fumble and talk over and all of that, let me tell you, 5 years ago it was a lot worse than this. So so other people are benefiting, I like to think, from this. So they should not be upset that I'm talking to AI because it's helping me talk to them. So yeah.
Interesting. That's really interesting. And be relatable. Yeah, I think that is really
Right.
one of the key things for
Right.
my Substack too is can anybody relate to what I'm throwing out there? Like that
Yeah.
longer article I threw out about
Yeah.
network and being a node on the network,
Mhm.
non-hierarchical thing
Mhm.
where we're all equal and we
Right.
have a voice and we can use it and we can use
Right.
it in much more fluid ways.
Right.
Now we've had this technology for a while. I remember
Mm.
the beginnings of it in conferencing um, software that was being developed specifically to help fund Seva Foundation
Mhm. Mhm.
by Larry Brilliant and some others out in California and
Mhm.
Washington State and such. They
Mm.
actually used early conferencing software to fund that effort. And this is in the 80s, I think.
Hmm.
I'm actually going back, yep, in my brain. 79, I think, is when Seva got off the ground. They had
Mm.
eradicated smallpox, and Steve Jobs had gotten these guys together and said, what do you want to eradicate next? And
Mm.
they decided unnecessary blindness was it.
Oh.
That
Oh.
blindness in the third world was a tremendous burden, and a lot of people were unnecessarily blind.
Right.
Their
Right.
sight could be restored by a simple operation that costs like
Yeah.
$50, and it costs even
Yeah.
less now, I think.
Wow.
And the idea is that Larry then funded it by starting a software company that did conferencing, like being able to do virtual presence
Right.
in the
Right.
80s before the
Right.
internet,
Right. Right.
you know? So
Right.
we've actually been building on this technology. Now, if we had picked up that thread at
Mhm.
that time and subsidized it, we'd have had the internet faster.
Mm. Right.
I think the first internet
Mm.
sent in the 70s or 69, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At the message hello,
Yeah.
beginning of a login
Right.
got
Right.
sent.
Right.
And I've been telling people they ought to watch the movie Lo and Behold,
Lo and behold, yeah.
which
Yeah.
is by Werner Herzog. Have you seen it yet, Kay?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
I highly recommend it. It's Werner Herzog narrating it too, so it's worth the price of admission on that alone. And Herzog, of course, is his own thing. He's got a new book out too. What is it called?
Hmm.
I'm going to bring it up here. I was just bringing Amy Neumann's book up. By the way, that's called Empower Your Nonprofit, and it's by Wiley. That's another publisher.
Oh, Wiley,
I
yes.
was confusing Wiley with
Yeah, yeah. I was
Riley there.
wondering why O'Reilly. Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was it. And why didn't it have an animal in the cover? Well, it does actually. It has a hummingbird, and the hummingbird forms a kind of a leitmotif in Amy's
Mhm.
book, Empower Your Nonprofit, subtitled
Yeah.
Simple Ways to Co-Create with AI
Right.
for Profound Impact.
Right.
And that's what we really need is impact, right, on the world
Right.
to be able to
Right.
shift it in a direction we want it to
Right.
go, man.
Right.
So my
Right.
longer note on the network thing was all about how we are trim tabs on this great ocean liner of civilization. And by getting ourselves coordinated, like you and I were talking about, we
Right.
might actually have half a chance of actually affecting real meaningful change. And it's right
Right.
now, right here with
Right.
us. Werner Herzog's new book, by the way, is called The Future of Truth. I have it as an audiobook and was
Oh,
listening to it the other night. The Future of Truth.
okay.
And blah, blah,
That's
blah.
not fun. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He essays an answer to one of humanity's deepest and most eternal questions at a moment when deepfake AI videos are proliferating, like
Yeah.
Tibby or Tilly
Tilly Norwood.
Norwood.
Tilly
There we
Norwood.
go. I found her. I knew
Yeah.
I'd find her eventually. It's tis something. In the future of truth, he answers one of humanity's deepest, most eternal questions at a moment when deepfake AI videos are
Mm.
proliferating, and most people have simply thrown up their hands in despair at the ubiquity of what we now know as fake news, not to mention the constant lying and propagandizing from certain public figures.
Right.
Herzog seeks a remedy, mixing memoir, history, politics, poetry, science, and fierce opinion. He writes with dazzling originality and panache, urging listeners to be unflagging and imaginative
Right.
in the pursuit of truth, endless though the quest may be. That's the review or the blurb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I think he's doing all right. I love his
yeah.
memoir, by the way, if you haven't got it yet. It's called Every Man for Himself and God Against All. That actually is tagged in that longer post I did on the note on the network,
Right.
which I will plug again. And what I did with that too is I sent it out to a bunch of people on a message. I'd never done that before and
Mhm.
asked them to at least comment on it. Now, a lot of
Yeah.
people commented just sort of flatteringly, which didn't really want.
Yeah.
But I
I
did
did a
get at
little
least,
like I
I
gave you
did,
stuff.
I did get a lot, one very good substantive thing.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
also, I found it very substantive when somebody said, I started reading but couldn't finish.
Mm.
It took me a good bit of the morning and afternoon to write it. And I
Yeah.
was pulling together and just sort of following my nose through
Mm.
it.
Right.
I like to do that. And I did
Right.
say in the first paragraph, buy the ticket, take the ride.
Mm.
So I wasn't sure where I was going, so I couldn't really tell you up front. I could have
Yeah.
gone back and written an introduction and say, and this is where we're going to end up. These are the
Well, you
main
know what you
points.
could do? Just take that whole thing and give it to Grok or whoever and
And edit
say
it,
and then or
rewrite it.
edit it, you can pull out chunks and say
Hell no.
and this
That's
is the
not
thing
my
too.
voice.
No, but no, it doesn't no, 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 no. You misunderstand me
Okay,
because
I'm listening.
it's not about having AI rewrite things for us. It's about having a conversation with it
I
because
know.
that has been just so phenomenal. Like I sit around like this writing this AI self-defense book.
I-
Talked for hours, just talked things through and this debate back and forth and saying, well, what about this? What about that? Well, you forgot about this. Oh yeah, well, no, that's not right at all. But having this extended conversation with persona team, my brainstormer team and with some other teams, and just having these conversations. Like I wrote this thing myself. I mean, this is like I've spent hours just dictating and I said, okay, well, what can we do with this? And
Ah,
but having it's literally like this incredible collaboration. And this is the kind of thing that we should be doing with all of these big sticky problems that we have because we didn't even realize so many of the things that can be surfaced and brought to us that can be incorporated. We still need to lead because AI will come up with whatever it comes up with, and you get what you get if you just let it lead. You can lead or be led. So, and of course, then there's the in between. It's not like this binary because I've gotten into this whole exclusionary, inclusionary bifurcation thing with the antitheticals, which is fascinating. It's fascinating. I mean, let's do a tangent there. Okay, so you know the antithetical thing that AI does, where it says it's not this, it's that. And like you've been talking to and you've been chatting back and forth, and it says, "Oh, it's not this, it's that." And there's that instant of like, "Oh, you know what? You're right." Well, the problem with the way that it does it is that number one, it's a mechanism to save it thinking, because when it says that it's not this, it's that, it carves off, it prunes like half of the stuff that it has to think about. So it's more economical. It's saving Sam a lot of money by not having to think about everything. But it really like trims down the thought process, because if it says it's not this, it has just summarily discounted a lot of the things that you may have already been thinking and have invested a lot of time in thinking through. There may be some value in those thoughts. So why would you put them all aside and say, and then shift away to something that's new and different, that seems shiny objects promising, but then if you think about that more, you realize, that's not all of it either. If we say it's not just this, it's also that, that is inclusive. That brings it all in. That makes it possible for us to keep the stuff that we've been thinking before and not completely summarily discard it. It keeps it like in the background, but it also opens us up to what else is there. And that I think is a much more useful model, like in the meta version as well, like in a larger version, having that approach where we're bringing things in rather than getting rid of it summarily, rather than having AI just replace the boring crap that we don't want to do. Use it to go through, like doing these end notes that I'm working on. I'm like, oh my God, it would be so much easier if it could just do it for me. But no, if I go through and I say, okay, here's the sentence and here's the note, and this lines up and this is what this means, it's so much more meaningful to me. It's very time consuming. It's driving me crazy, but it's so much more meaningful, and there's so much more value in that. And then I get to think about it from another different way as well. And when I'm double checking the resources and double checking the references and all of that, it adds in so many more layers. So that whole thing about the inclusionary antithetical, that's my magic secret sauce, philosophically as well as logistically these days. It's wonderful. So, and you can tell, like when you're talking to AI, say, do not, you say it's not just this, it's also that. Have it be inclusive. Don't just prune half of the stuff off and toss it in the trash bin. Keep that there when you're talking to me about this. And then the AI has more to think about as well, because it hasn't just pruned off half of the stuff, because there could be something really good in there. So, yeah. So it's super simple to do. You just have to remember to do it.
Yeah, I don't really follow entirely. So dumb it down for me a little bit. What are you trying to say?
You know, so when you're talking to AI, you're talking to Grok, and you're noodling through this thing that you've been thinking about, and it says, well, it's not this, it's that.
I don't know
So
that. I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand that. That's the part I'm missing.
Okay, so
it's not. When does AI ever tell me it's not this, it's that?
Oh, look and see.
I don't really find that.
Oh, well, if you do, because ChatGPT and Claude, like they do it.
Give me a solid example of what you're talking about. Because I don't know what it is that it's not.
Oh, so if you say, like, I'm really nervous about this meeting I'm going to be having today, and it says it's not that you're insecure, it's that you're really concerned with what you're doing. It's that you really want the meeting to go well. It's not that you're insecure.
So it's digging into your unconscious and saying, this is what your unconscious driver of that story you just told me is.
Right. Yes.
And so it's got clairvoyance on your unconscious.
Right. Okay. So when it says you're not nervous, you just really want this meeting to go well. It's
Got it.
discounting the fact that you really are nervous. I'm like, no,
I thought
I
it was talking about a factual thing as opposed to a feeling thing.
well, it
So
could
that
be
was my
factual
mistake.
as
That was
well.
where I wasn't following. Go
Right,
ahead.
it could, like, if you say, the okay, it's raining and the rocks are it's raining and the sidewalk outside is slippery, and it says, "It's not the rain, it's the sidewalk that's the problem." Or it's not, it's not that the sidewalk is slippery, it's that you don't have the right shoes on. Those kinds of things. And it'll just completely carve off the thing that could actually be part of it, but it'll replace it with its own
Okay.
idea.
Uh,
So does that make sense?
yeah, that does.
Or like, all my
But
plans,
it does have
my
information in it for you, is the
right.
idea.
Exactly, exactly. Um, but like the thought process, it just really opens it up. But if you don't know that it's doing it or you don't know how to fix it, then you're kind of stuck. And then you end up with the same old, same old. So these are all things that we can fix. We just look at it, and if you come across something and this is the other thing that really worries me, that people don't challenge it, and they don't ask AI how to fix itself. And say, I really don't like that you're doing this. What can
Well,
we do to
right. They're
change
not
it? And like,
engineers of AI. And to be that, you have to have some degree of knowledge of how to interact with it, which is what we really should be talking about here.
right,
And
right,
giving specific examples like you just
right,
gave me when I
right,
got kind of lost in what you were talking about.
right, right.
And if you had gotten along there, I'd let you go a long ways while I was completely lost.
Well, see, you're doing that thing. So
I'm trying to help.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because
So stop
it's
me, right?
hard to convey a lot of this information if we don't get specific in our examples.
Which is why I need to do demos. I'm like,
Right.
I
Maybe
talk.
we should do a demo. Maybe we
We
can do a live
we
demo.
yeah, we could do demos, and like I'm gonna be posting demos because
You
I
did
can
a
do a
great
quick,
job of putting
I
up
can
the
do a
"we'll
quick
be
little
right
2-minute
back"
thing.
thing.
Right, right, exactly. Here, let me put the demo on while I make some coffee.
And we
I
got
get
about 4
snack.
minutes till our 90-minute mark, which we tried to
Yes,
shoot for.
4
So to
minutes.
wrap up, I mean, I've really enjoyed, again, having you on here. I never know what's gonna emerge out of the space between us, right?
We are highly generative emergent creatures, so you never know what's gonna happen.
Hey, we got a couple of notes from Origin too, who has been our guest with us
Question everything.
past.
Yeah,
And question everything. I agree with that. And she said that was a
challenge.
really good article, Hal. And I do appreciate that because I do think that
Yay.
article has some substance to it. What it
Yeah.
riffs
Oh,
on
good.
to just talk a little bit about what I was trying to get at
Right,
was
right,
I am a node on a non-hierarchical network. I don't know what's going to emerge from me.
right,
And
right,
because when I talk to myself via writing on a
right,
post,
right,
I'm exploring, right?
right,
What wants
right,
to be written? What
right,
is
right.
coming through me to
Mhm.
be conveyed? And then I'll hit a reference. And the first reference I hit was the secret policeman's ball, or was it the secret policeman's other ball? They were known as the secret policeman's
Yeah,
balls,
yeah,
by Amnesty International,
yeah, yeah.
where Peter Cook is sitting next to Graham Cleese. And he says, do you know you have 4 miles of tubing in your stomach? And I rambled myself there by thinking about
Mhm,
Alan Watts talking about we're hollow tubes who put things in
mhm.
one end and pass them out the other.
Right.
And eventually we wear them out. So we
Yeah,
have to find ways of making other tubes
yeah,
and keeping it going because
right,
we have to put things in one end and put them out the other.
right, right.
And then, of course, we also do this thing we do with talking to each other
And he
to
goes
try
in
to
one ear and out.
cooperate and persist. And because
Yeah,
we need each other to stay
yeah,
alive, right?
right,
I don't know how to
right,
make this. I have no idea how to make a tie-dye
right.
shirt. The material it's made from, the dyes, like you were talking
Mm,
about printing. Oh my
mhm.
God, this is probably not environmentally friendly, but I hope it is. And it has a better chance of being environmentally friendly than many things.
Well, it already
But
exists, so you might as well use it.
they're hippies, hippies are going to be kind
Right,
of more thinking about the
right,
environment and how they can save the
right,
earth
right,
7 generations down the line.
right.
You realize that 7 generations is about 300 years.
Mm,
Think about the world in 1725.
mm,
Now bring the world into 2325.
mhm.
Where are we going to be? And I had that's one of my
Uh-oh.
essays out there on the
No, I
internet. I
think
won't go into that. But my
I
point being that when I
I
went to that and I went to
right,
Peter Cook and then I riffed off of that into Amnesty International
right,
and how just letter writing campaigns we did
right,
in college, it felt like
right.
it's just my letter, right?
Right.
reminding this dictator of the Human Rights Convention. And
Right. Right.
then I went to New Orleans and met a Polish woman who had been released from jail based on the pressure Amnesty had put on
Right.
the
Right.
Polish government during
Right.
Solidarity. This was
Right.
1985.
Right. Right.
And we can do this.
Yeah.
We
Right.
individually do have that
Right.
power. Now, I was talking to somebody whose book, The Wonder and Happiness of Growing Old, and there's my 11:30,
Mm.
Sophie Burnham, and she said, we don't have that power. We've got to pay our electric bills. We've got to do that. I'm not saying that, but our discretionary spending, what we have, the way in which we make choices of what we buy, what we do, makes
Mm.
a difference. And I want to encourage everyone to make a difference, to be the difference.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what else do we want to say? Kay, last words from you. This is mine.
I don't know. Just have fun with it.
I don't know either. I just know how it
Have fun
seems
with
to me.
it. Just have fun with it. I mean, like,
Question everything.
there's pain and suffering everywhere. Question everything and have fun with it.
And
That's
try
what
to help one another. I mean, that's one
Right.
of the big things that I felt like I
Yeah.
had to tie. It's kind of like when they say they get the dogs to play with the kid. He's so ugly, I had to tie a stake around his neck.
So
Right? I feel that way sometimes on Substack, and we can help each other out. I'm
Yes.
subscribing to like 102 different feeds now. I'm going to have to
Yeah.
cut that back.
Yeah.
I can't sustain that forever, but I
Yeah.
wanted to model the behavior and show that
Right.
it could be done. If I like what somebody's doing, the day I
Right.
ran across an apocalyptic piece of fiction, I
Yeah.
liked it. I
Yeah.
bought the guy a coffee.
Yeah.
Bought him $25 worth of coffee.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard. I
Yeah.
probably ought not do that on a
Yeah.
daily basis,
Well,
but here and
for
there, you can
under that,
nudge
yeah.
the needle for other people. This is
Right.
a new economy. This is a new
Right.
engine. In
Right.
fact, Substack says
Right.
as much.
Right.
This is a new engine for the economy. It's a
Right.
new when you look at the news, there was a chart recently put up by Ted Joya. I don't know if you saw that, Joya. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Joy
lot
it.
of letters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it showed that Substack is up like 45% for news readership and everything else is down. And the mainstream media is way down.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So we are
Yeah.
it, folks. Be it.
Yeah.
Be the
That's
change
right.
you want to see.
Be the
Thanks,
change.
Kay.
All right. Thank you, Hal. Okay.
Out here.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Be interesting to see our clips.
Yeah.